Welcome to our documentary about the development of Hong Kong. This vibrant city has undergone significant changes in the last century, transforming itself from a small British colony to a global financial and cultural hub. But what has been the driving force behind this incredible growth? How has Hong Kong managed to maintain its economic prosperity and cultural identity despite the many challenges it has faced? Through in-depth research, our documentary will explore these questions and more, providing a comprehensive look at the past, present, and the future of Hong Kong. Join us as we uncover the development policies that have shaped this fascinating city and discover what makes it truly unique. Hong Kong remains the city of change, and in this section of our documentary, we will go through the history of the island and its changes it has been through. In the early 1800s, the British found this island and colonized it to unload opium from India. The Chinese government then cracked down on addiction. After a year of war, the British captured Nanjing and extracted farewell peace terms, which included the surrender of Hong Kong. Then the island became a center for Christian missionaries and the spread of Christianity. A few years later, the British extracted a 99-year lease of the surrounding islands. As Hong Kong westernized, it became increasingly different from the rest of China. One of the main differences was in education. And it was at Hong Kong College of Medicine that Sun Yat-sen, who later then became known as the father of the Republic of China, and a group of friends who plotted their successful revolution. In 1941, Japan attacked Hong Kong and the British surrender after an 18-day battle. Japan ruled the territory for 3 years before being defeated in World War II. After the Japanese left, the British re-established control, but in 1949, the Chinese Civil War began, and the Communist Party victories forced Shanghai capitalist class to flee to Hong Kong. This transformed to a thriving manufacturing center, but working conditions were poor and the squatter camps grew out of control. 53,000 people were left homeless when a fire ripped through one of the shanty downs. The housing shortage led to an embrace of the high rises that now define the Hong Kong skyline. In 1950, a war broke out in Korea, and the West blocked all trade with China. Hong Kong's economy had a severe decline as a result of being shut off from the mainland markets, which amplified social unrest. To recover, capitalists in Hong Kong turned to high-tech electronics and banking. In the 1970s, Hong Kong was thriving again, and China demanded that Britain hand over the entire territory in 1997 when the 90-year lease was over. Britain agreed to give Hong Kong back, but only after giving them a Bill of Rights and forcing China to agree to a one country, two systems policy. This gave China control, but allowed Hong Kong to keep the capitalist economy and political systems for 50 years. In the 2 decades after the handover, Hong Kong's economy has remained open and strong, but China has begun asserting more control. In 2014, massive protests arose and prevented Beijing from imposing national education in Hong Kong schools, but they were unsuccessful in getting the central government to allow direct election of the chief executive. Hong Kong residents instead got to pick from a small pool of Beijing-approved candidates. There are still a lot of uncertainties regarding Hong Kong's future as we get closer to the year 2047, when full reunification with the rest of China will occur.
The economic principles that have driven Hong Kong's success are rooted in the ideas of Adam Smith and Milton Friedman, two of the most influential economists in modern history. Adam Smith, widely regarded as the father of modern economics, argued for the power of the market and the visible hand of the economy. He believed that by allowing individuals to pursue their own self-interest, the market would naturally allocate resources in the most efficient way possible and drive economic growth. Similarly, Milton Friedman, a leading figure in the field of monetarism, emphasized the importance of free markets and limited government intervention in the economy. He argued that the government policies such as regulation and taxation should be kept to a minimum in order to allow market forces to operate freely and create economic prosperity. These ideas have been central to Hong Kong's economic success and have informed its approach to economic policy. The city's commitment to free markets, low trade barriers, and limited government intervention have allowed it to create a dynamic, competitive marketplace that has driven economic growth and contributed to its current $59,770 USD GDP per capita, ranking Hong Kong with the 9th highest GDP per capita of 2022. The success of free markets, capitalism, neoliberalism, and low trade barriers in Hong Kong can also be attributed to the government's commitment to privatization. By reducing the role of the state in the economy, the government has created a more level playing field for businesses to operate and allowed market forces to drive economic growth. The result has been the creation of a dynamic, competitive marketplace that encourages innovation and entrepreneurship. The benefits of these policies are reflected in Hong Kong's impressive GDP per capita, which is one of the highest in the world. This high level of prosperity has been achieved through a combination of factors, including the city's well-developed infrastructure, highly skilled workforce, and favorable business environment. The government has also played a role in fostering economic growth by maintaining stability, promoting free trade, and investing in education and research. The city's commitment to these principles has not only helped to establish it as a major economic power in the region, but also made it a model for other countries looking to promote economic development and prosperity. Hong Kong has experienced significant growth in living standards and development over the past few decades. This can be attributed to several key factors, including a low infant mortality rate, an increase in life expectancy, and a really high score on the Human Development Index, or the HDI. Infant mortality is an important indicator of the overall health of a population. Hong Kong's 1.2 deaths per 1,000 lives is a sign of a strong healthcare system, as well as access to proper nutrition and clean water. In Hong Kong, the infant mortality rate has constantly been low, indicating that the population has access to quality healthcare services and resources, which in turn leads to better health outcomes and improved quality of life for families with young children. An increase in life expectancy is another important factor in determining the overall well-being of a population. In Hong Kong, life expectancy has increased steadily over the past few decades, reaching an all-time high of 84 years in recent years. This increase in life expectancy can be attributed to a variety of factors, including, as I already mentioned, an improved healthcare, safe living conditions, and access to nutritious food. As a result, individuals in Hong Kong are able to live longer and healthier lives, providing them with more opportunities to pursue education and employment, and to contribute to the overall development and growth of the country. Finally, Hong Kong's high HDI score of 0.952 reflects a strong economy, high levels of education and literacy, and a quality standard of living. The HDI is a comprehensive measure of human development that takes into account factors such as income, education, and health. In Hong Kong, the HDI is consistently high, with a score of 0.952 is the fourth highest among all the nations. It indicates that the country has a strong and growing economy, a well-educated population, and a high standard of living for its citizens. This contributes to the overall development and growth in the country, as well as improved quality of life for its citizens.
Hong Kong has a low poverty rate. However, during the recent COVID-19 pandemic, the poverty rate was 23.6%. This increase in poverty rate was due to an increase in unemployment, high inflation, and low economic growth. This decreased the rate in which Hong Kong was developing. And in order to recover from this, the government implemented a new policy, giving 10,000 Hong Kong dollars to all adult permanent residents in 2020. This money helped the citizens improve their standards of living again, which is the definition of development, and increase consumption, which helped increase the economic activity in Hong Kong. As mentioned earlier, free market and no government intervention is the most significant policy that allowed Hong Kong to develop. Low trade barriers and tariffs enabled exports and imports to grow. Letting the economy find its natural equilibrium, also known as the invisible market, allowed the quantity demanded to stay high as consumers were able to afford prices dictated by producers. Overall, economic neoliberalism market structure allows for the freedom of economic activity, which has greatly increased the economic growth of Hong Kong and the standards of living of their citizens.
To conclude, we can agree that Hong Kong is one of the most vibrant and dynamic places in the world. With its unique history, rich cultural heritage, towering skyscrapers, and a sophisticated financial sector, from being a poor, abundant British colony, it is now a thriving place with one of the highest human development index in the world. Free market, constant trade, and a government who is willing to invest in the lives of its citizens. After a thorough and comprehensive analysis, we can understand why Hong Kong is one of the most developed city-states in the world, with one of the most desired living standards.